Very big namaste to all of you. I am Dr. Smita Malhotra. I am a pediatric gastroenterologist and hepatologist. I am based at Apollo Hospital, Delhi and Apollo Hospital, Noida. I have experience in pediatric gastroenterology for almost 9-10 years and in pediatrics for another decade or so, more than that. I will be talking on a topic which is very common and yet very difficult to treat. It's something which is very discomforting for both the parents and for the children who experience it, and it is very rampant. It's just like an epidemic in the modern generation, that is constipation in children. Every second child in the OPD that I see is constipated. Sometimes they will know that their symptoms are because of constipation. Sometimes they will not realize. They will say हमारे बच्चे को तो कुछ नहीं है, वो रोज पॉटी करता है. But the problem will be because of the incomplete bowel evacuation and fecal retention. So first we need to know what is the normal stool frequency. How frequently does a baby pass stool? What is diarrhea? What is constipation? So a baby who is less than 1 month of age will pass 3 to 4 times a day, which is quite normal. Can even pass up to 8 to 10 times a day. तो 8-10 बार भी कर रहा है तो वो डायरिया नहीं है. And there will be some children who will pass stool only once in 3 or 4 days, sometimes even once a week. So that is also not constipation. In newborns, they have their own bowel patterns. So 3 to 4 times a day is quite normal, and there's nothing to get worked up about it. And once in 3 to 4 days is also quite normal, and there's nothing to get worked up about it if the child is active, playful, feeding well, gaining weight properly. So as the child grows beyond 1 month of age, the pattern will continue to be 2 to 3 times a day till the child is roughly 2 years of age. And once they reach 2 years of age, that is the age when the toilet training starts, when they reach the physiological systems become more like adult, and they will come to 1 stool per day. So that is the normal thing. So what is constipation? So any delay or difficulty in defecation which is sufficient to cause significant distress. So it can be acute. Acute means kuch din ka hi hai. It can be chronic, going on for weeks and months. And sometimes they may present with collateral manifestations. Their symptoms, they will not present with bowel symptoms or direct GI symptoms, but they will have other complaints which point to the diagnosis. And we can also have children with refractory constipation. We give all the treatments and they don't resolve. So it is very important. It's not a very simple and easy thing to understand and treat. So there are different categories why children get constipated. The most common that we see is functional constipation. It's a term which is based on specific criteria. ये क्राइटेरिया जो हैं रोम मीटिंग्स होती हैं कुछ सालों के बाद. तो रोम 4 वाली मीटिंग में डिसाइड हुए थे, with on the basis of which अगर ये सारे क्राइटेरिया फिल हो रहे हैं, then we can say that this is functional constipation. means इस बच्चे को शारीरिक रूप से कोई abnormality नहीं है, बच्चे में कोई ऑर्गेनिक कॉज नहीं है, कुछ ऐसा नहीं है, कोई रुकावट नहीं है, कोई ऐसा कुछ एसेंशियल फंक्शंस की प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, लेकिन द चाइल्ड इज़ हैविंग कॉन्स्टिपेशन, जिसके लिए बहुत ज़्यादा ना तो जांचें करने की ज़रूरत है, ना बहुत ज़्यादा उसके लिए कोई सर्जिकल इंटरवेंशन चाहिए, but the child needs treatment definitely. So what are these criteria? So these criteria are, we need more than 2 of these at least should be present for at least once a week for 1 month, and there should not be criteria which define IBS. वो मैं आपको बाद में बताऊंगी कि IBS के क्या criteria होते हैं. So children who are having less than 2 defecations per week, and there is at least 1 episode of fecal incontinence per week. When we say fecal incontinence means the child is passing stool in inappropriate situations involuntarily. जैसे बच्चा जो है, बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स आके कहते हैं कि वो अंडर पैंट्स में ही बच्चा पॉटी कर देता है और उसको पता नहीं चलता. Or another thing which is very common is retentive posting. The child will not want to sit on the pot. The child will just like to hold to a stool or hold to a bed or side go hand behind, छिप जाएंगे पर्दे के पीछे. So that is retentive posturing or excessive volitional stool retention. Obviously children might have history of very hard or painful bowel movements, or there will be a large fecal mass. They can feel that there is a large fecal mass in the rectum, or the child is passing stools which are so huge that they obstruct the toilet. So if these more than 2 of these have been present for at least a month, then we can say that this is functional constipation, and for this there is no need to get an ultrasound, no need to get a CT, no need to get lots of blood tests to know what we are dealing with. So these symptoms themselves are self-explanatory, and they are at the same time also reassuring that there is unlikely to be an organic cause. When I say फीकल इनकॉन्टिनेंस की बच्चा बीच में ही पॉटी कर देता है, तो देर इज़ अनदर कंडीशन जिसको नॉन रिटेंटिव फीकल इनकॉन्टिनेंस बोलते हैं। इसका मतलब ये है कि हमारा जो रेक्टम है, जो हमारा रिजर्वर है स्टूल का, जहाँ पे जब स्टूल इकट्ठा होता है एंड वी हैव एंड द चाइल्ड हैज़ दैट अर्ज टू पास स्टूल, सो रिटेंटिव इज जब वो भर जाता है और वो बच्चा जो है क्योंकि नॉर्मल स्टूल नहीं पास कर रहा है, होल्ड कर रहा है, तो वो ओवरफ्लो इनकॉन्टिनेंस होता है। नॉन रिटेंटिव मीन्स देर इज नो कॉन्स्टिपेशन, देर इज नो स्टूल देयर, बट द नॉर्मल स्टूल दैट इज फॉर्म्ड दैट इज स्टिल बीइंग पास्ड इन अप्रोप्रिएट सिचुएशंस। ये कंडीशन बहुत रेयर है एंड इस कंडीशन में यूजुअली न्यूरोलॉजिकल सिम्टम्स साथ में होते हैं, ब्रेन अबनॉर्मैलिटीज होती हैं, तो दैट रिक्वायर्स स्पेसिफिक ट्रीटमेंट। और ऐसी कंडीशन में लैक्सेटिव्स नहीं देने हैं। तो जस्ट इन केस यू आर वॉचिंग दिस प्रोग्राम एंड यू सी कि हाँ हमारा बच्चा तो अंडर पैंट्स में पॉटी कर रहा है, तो हम उसको जो है लैक्सेटिव्स अपने आप दे दें, तो ये गलती बिल्कुल नहीं करनी है। दिस हैज़ टू बी डायग्नोज एंड ट्रीटेड बाय अ पीडियाट्रिशियन और अ पीडियाट्रिक गैस्ट्रोएंटरोलॉजिस्ट by defining what exactly they are treating. Then now there is another condition which is called IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. Irritable bowel syndrome can present with diarrhea also. Irritable bowel syndrome can present with constipation also. Irritable bowel syndrome में जो main symptom होता है that is pain abdomen. तो at least 4 days per month, one or more of the following. पेट में दर्द है, it is related to defecation और a change in frequency of stool और change in form of stool. So पेट दर्द है, साथ में defecation का pattern change हो रहा है, साथ में स्टूल का फॉर्म चेंज हो रहा है, इनमें से कुछ होता है, तो वो IBS कॉन्स्टिपेशन या IBS डायरिया होता है. अगर स्टूल्स इफ देयर चाइल्ड इज पासिंग मल्टीपल स्टूल्स अलॉन्ग विद पेन एब्डोमेन, इट इज IBS डायरिया. इट इज IBS constipation if after treating constipation also the pain abdomen does not resolve. You have seen when I gave you the criteria for functional constipation, pain abdomen was nowhere in the criteria. But in routine day-to-day practice, even all the pediatricians, my colleagues will vouch for this, that most of the children who are constipated will present with pain abdomen. Sometimes they will not even realize that they are constipated. They will present with pain abdomen. So this pain abdomen, if it resolves by the treatment of constipation, then it is not IBS, that is just constipation, and it's a manifestation. The pain abdomen is a manifestation of the constipation. But if this pain abdomen persists despite attainment of regular bowel movements with laxatives every day, the constipation is resolved, but the pain doesn't resolve, then that is IBS constipation, and that needs a different approach of treatment than just giving regular laxatives. So कितना common है constipation? Is that so common? I am telling you that in my OPD practice I see it very frequently. So even in pediatric practice, almost 17 to 40% of children who get constipation will get constipated in the first year of life itself, and almost 1/3 of the children in pediatric practice and in pediatric gastroenterology consultations will be constipation. So it is that common, and the most common of this, up to 85 to 90%, is functional constipation. और जो ऑर्गेनिक कॉजेज हैं वो एक स्मॉल फ्रैक्शन है, रफली 10% और सो. कैसे प्रेजेंट करते हैं? मोस्ट कॉमन प्रेजेंटेशन विल बी चाइल्ड कमिंग विद हार्ड स्टूल्स, डिफिकल्टी इन पासिंग स्टूल्स, स्ट्रेनिंग, विद होल्डिंग, स्टैंडिंग मैन्यूवर्स एंड और पेन एब्डोमेन. यू एग्जामिन द चाइल्ड इज टोटली नॉर्मल, उसकी ग्रोथ ठीक है, उसका वेट ठीक है, उसका हाइट ठीक है, उसको कोई बुखार नहीं है, एंड ही इज ग्रोइंग वेल, ही इज थ्राइविंग वेल. लोकल एग्जामिनेशन में आपको पेरिएनल सॉइलिंग मिल सकती है. यू माइट सी दैट द अंडरपैंट्स हैव सम अमाउंट ऑफ स्टूल. अगर डॉक्टर पर रेक्टल एग्जामिनेशन करता है तो उसको वहाँ पे जो है रेक्टम में स्टूल मिलेगा. सो एक्सरे करवाएंगे तो उसमें हमें फीकल लोडिंग मिलती है, इंटेस्टाइन्स में स्टूल रिटेंशन मिलता है. सो दिस इज द मोस्ट कॉमन प्रेजेंटेशन. देर आर डेफिनेट क्राइटेरिया फॉर डिफाइनिंग दिस. देर आर स्कोर्स फॉर एक्सरेज ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ विच वी कैन understand that this is a loaded colon and the treatment is given and it helps the child. In contrast, if you have a child who comes with constipation जो birth के बहुत जल्दी start हुई, it started very soon after birth, and the child is not growing. आप देखते हो बच्चे का ग्रोथ बहुत कम है, बच्चा बहुत दुबला पतला है, एंड उसका पेट फूला हुआ है, बच्चे को कलर भी अच्छा नहीं है, ही इज लुकिंग पेल, ही इज नॉट गुड, एंड if the doctor does a rectal, he finds that there is no stool in the rectum. These are the children where we can be dealing with a neuronal disorder, a neuromuscular disorder, which is Hirschsprung's disease. These are the children who have a physical organic cause where there is obstruction, because the intestinal nervous system, which modulates the intestinal motility, is not well formed, and these children require barium studies to diagnose it. They require manometry, pressure studies to diagnose it, and they will require surgical treatment. So it is very important not to miss Hirschsprung disease. in children who present with constipation. Sometimes the amount of the bowel which is involved may be very small, which may not be very easily detectable even by barium studies. So these children will require investigations and aggressive treatment. So this will be diagnosed by a barium enema. It is a barium enema is a dye study जिसमें anus से dye डाला जाता है और intestine it goes into the large intestine, and where we can see whether the diameter of the entire intestine is uniform, it is standard as it should be, or there is an area of narrowing जहाँ पे the nervous system, the muscular system is not well formed, and then there is a hold up, and there is उससे पीछे का जो intestine है वो बहुत ज़्यादा dilated है क्योंकि वो आगे का रास्ता उसका appropriate नहीं है. So this will be diagnosed by a barium enema study, but it should not be done randomly in all cases of constipation. Only when it is strongly suspected that we have Hirschsprung's disease will we need a barium enema. How can one diagnose by the clinical presentation that we are dealing with functional constipation or Hirschsprung disease? So one thing I have already said, that Hirschsprung disease will present very early in infancy itself. It will present. Usually the functional constipation presents when the children they reach the age of toilet training, roughly 2 years or so. In functional constipation, encoparesis is very common. That is stool which is passed in the underpants involuntarily. But encoparesis is not something you will find in Hirschsprung disease very common. It's in fact against. If you find encoparesis, don't think of Hirschsprung's. In functional constipation, child is thriving. बच्चे का weight gain अच्छा है, बच्चे की growth अच्छी है. Hirschsprung disease का बच्चा ऐसा नहीं होगा. Hirschsprung disease का बच्चा बीमार बच्चा दिखेगा. बच्चा पनप नहीं रहा है, बच्चा सुस्त है, बच्चा dull है. That will be evident. Hirschsprung disease children will frequently get episodes of enterocolitis, which means infection of the intestines, the small and the large intestines. That will happen in children with Hirschsprung disease, which does not happen in functional constipation. Hirschsprung disease you will have abdominal distension, पेट बहुत फूल जाएगा. Normally routine बच्चों में ये सब नहीं होता, and diagnosis के लिए anorectal manometry, barium enema और rectal biopsy की ज़रूरत होती है. So these are the modalities by which these diagnoses are made. So along with this, there are some conditions where you can have constipation which is long standing. They have shown, parents are very well aware, they are giving the medicines regularly, the diet is good, the doctor is also treating with good doses, but the child is not able to come off laxatives. These are children, we say why they have. So these are the children if they have associated spinal anomalies. अगर बच्चे को spina bifida है, spina bifida occulta can be diagnosed just by a routine simple X-ray or an MRI spine. And otherwise, neurologically, the child will be normal. Child will not require any treatment also for that. But these are the children, there is an association of these spinal anomalies with constipation. And these are the children we know that they are likely to have long-standing constipation, and we have to prepare the families and tell them that they will require laxatives for a longer duration of time. Similarly, in North India, we have celiac disease, which is very common. That is wheat allergy. Now, celiac disease is a genetically based permanent wheat allergy, permanent insensitivity to gluten. And though a lot of people are nowadays going off gluten as a health fad, but medically we advise gluten-free diet only when we have a diagnosis of celiac disease. And celiac disease usually presents with diarrhea, or it may present with non-GI manifestations like anemia, short stature, bone anomalies, and all those things. It can affect, it is known as the chameleon of pediatrics. It can present with any symptom. But what most people are not aware of is that celiac disease can also present as constipation. So if a child who has refractory constipation, who is being treated and is not responding to therapy, one should screen for celiac disease also in these children. But it is not advisable at all to just stop giving milk or stop giving wheat to children who come to the doctor's or chamber with complaints of constipation. This is very common. Many parents start doing this on their own कि बच्चे को कहीं गेहूं से एलर्जी ना हो तो गेहूं बंद कर दिया. So that is not to be done. And even in smaller children, sometimes cow's milk allergy can cause constipation, but even then stopping milk is not the treatment without realizing exactly what you are treating. So urinary symptoms. The other thing which I would like to highlight is urinary symptoms. There are many children, especially girls, who will come with recurrent UTI. Although recurrent UTI has many etiologies, many reasons, but if the renal system, everything is normal, you'll see these children, there's a very strong association with constipation. Children who are chronically constipated, they will have dysuria, they will have frequency, they will have dribbling, they will have urinary incontinence, they can have nighttime symptoms, they can have urine culture positive UTIs. And once the constipation is relieved, these children are found to improve a lot. This happens because when the stool is retained in the rectum, it puts pressure symptoms on the bladder and it causes urinary retention and leads to UTI and along with the other symptoms. So it's very important that the children don't get used to chronic constipation and they don't move around with while holding so much stool in their rectum. It affects their daily living, it affects their urinary tract symptoms as well. So, and there's another thing I would like to highlight. You must have seen very commonly small babies, 2 महीने का 3 महीने का बच्चा है, 4 महीने का बच्चा है, they will strain a lot before passing stool. बहुत जोर लगाएंगे, हाथ पैर मोड़ेंगे और बहुत रोएंगे, 8-10 मिनट रोएंगे, and then उसके बाद they will pass stool. और जो stool pass होगा it will be very soft, it will not be hard, उसमें कोई blood नहीं होगा, it will be soft stool. और एक बार stool pass हो जाएगा, the child will be active and playful. So this is also not constipation. ये एक normal infantile phenomena है, इसको infantile dyschezia बोलते हैं. So these children also do not require laxatives. This is not constipation. और चाहे बच्चे का चेहरा लाल हो जाए और बच्चा रोए 8-10 मिनट, ऐसे बच्चों को लैक्सेटिव्स की ज़रूरत नहीं होती है, ये कॉन्स्टिपेशन नहीं है. दिस इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड. अब व्हाट आर द रेड फ्लैग्स इन कॉन्स्टिपेशन? कौन सा ऐसा कॉन्स्टिपेशन है जिसके बारे में हमें चिंतित होना चाहिए? विच कॉन्स्टिपेशन वी शुड नो वी आर डीलिंग विद समथिंग सिनिस्टर which cannot be neglected, which can lead to something which will have difficult consequences. So a child who has not passed meconium in the first 48 hours in a term newborn, so that means a child who is born, जो बच्चा पूरे टाइम पे पैदा हुआ है और उसका बर्थ वेट ठीक है, नॉर्मली जो फर्स्ट स्टूल बच्चे पास करते हैं विच इज़ ब्लैकिश ग्रीन, दैट इज कॉल्ड मिकोनियम. मोस्ट ऑफ द चिल्ड्रन विल पास इट विद इन 48 आवर्स. सो अगर ये 48 आवर्स तक जो बच्चे स्टूल पास नहीं करते हैं, ये वाला लेट पास करते हैं, दीज आर द चिल्ड्रन, दिस कैन बी अ फीचर ऑफ हर्शस्प्रंग डिजीज. एंड अगर ऐसा है तो उस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बहुत ध्यान देने की ज़रूरत है. A child who is getting constipated in the first month of life itself, or there is a family history of Hirschsprung disease, there is family में और कोई बच्चा है जिसको Hirschsprung था, or the child is not thriving, not gaining weight, or there is severe abdominal distension, or the child is having repeated vomitings and these vomitings are bilious. Bilious means greenish color की vomiting है, or the anus is abnormally placed, the position is not normal, or if the doctor sees there is an absent anal or cremasteric reflex, or if the lower extremities, the tone and strength is low, the reflexes are low, if you feel that टांगे जो हैं ढीली हैं बच्चे की, so that is not a good sign in a child who is constipated. Or if there is a sacral dimple or a tuft of hair on the spine, so these are red flags in constipation which lead us to a conclusion कि yes, we could be dealing with something serious. Organic causes, I have already told you, Hirschsprung disease, one of the most common, which is a intestinal nerve or muscle disorder. Then there are other conditions like pseudo-obstruction, there are spinal cord anomalies, tethered cord होता है, which can cause these. There can be anorectal problems if there is anus stenosis or there is a pelvic mass. Sometimes there can be tumors which can present in the sacral area and compress the rectum and the bladder and cause these symptoms. If the anus is anteriorly placed, these are all organic causes of constipation which require treatment. Then there are endocrine causes of constipation, hormonal causes like hypothyroidism or diabetes insipidus, diabetes mellitus, calcium अगर ज़्यादा है, hypercalcemia. So these are organic causes. Food allergies I've already mentioned, celiac disease है या cow's milk protein allergy है, उसमें ऐसा होता है. Developmental causes हैं, बच्चे को abuse है या बच्चा कुछ ऐसी दवाइयों पे है. So all these are organic causes. अब इसमें मैनेज करने का क्या है? व्हाट डू वी डू? देयर आर 4 एसेंशियल स्ट्रैटेजीज. एक तो बच्चे को, पेरेंट्स को एजुकेट करना है. सेकंड इज डिसइम्पैक्शन, जो स्टूल रिटेन्ड है उसको रिलीव करना है. देन वी हैव टू प्रिवेंट रीइम्पैक्शन, कि दोबारा स्टूल जो है बाउल्स में इकट्ठा नहीं हो. एंड रेगुलर फॉलोअप इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. द बेसिक रूल इन कॉन्स्टिपेशन इज द ट्रीटमेंट इज नॉट कि जब बच्चे ने स्टूल पास नहीं किया तब दवाई दे दिया. यू नीड रेगुलर ट्रीटमेंट. Or and even on regular treatment, the child should be passing stools adequately, and it is not like a paracetamol की बुखार आया तो क्रोसिन खा ली. It is not like that. So You have to evaluate any child for red flags. If there are red flags, you assess for organic causes. If there are no red flags, there is toilet training, there is laxatives which has to be done. For disimpaction, we have very good medicines which can be prescribed, and they will produce us something like a diarrhea in first one or 2 days. The doctor will prescribe medicines which will flush out the intestines of all the loaded fecal matter, and then for the maintenance dose they will give you medicines in which the child will pass regular soft stools every day, once or twice, so that there is no fecal retention again. There are different medicines available. The dictum is that the treatment of constipation is from the mouth and not from the anus. Regular enemas dena is not the therapy. It has to be very strongly discouraged. It creates a fear psychosis in the child. So enema is not the treatment for constipation. Treatment of constipation is by giving medicines by the mouth, and the PEG is a group of medicines which are the most safe and the most effective, non-habit forming, which are available in very different formulations in different brand names. Powders hain, liquids hain, pouches hain, they are all there, and there's a whole range which can be used. They are slightly expensive compared to the other syrups which are commonly used, but they are the safest. They are not non-stimulant, they are not habit forming, but they have to be given for a longer period of time. And they should not be, stimulant laxatives are to be used only for rescue when there is severe constipation and you need to give immediately for that, only then, otherwise not. These laxatives, when do we stop them? They are never to be stopped abruptly. Normally people will go to a doctor, they will take medicine for a week, they will take medicine for 15 days, and then they will stop. They will not go for follow-up, they will not meet the doctor again. This is not to be done. It will lead to a vicious cycle. Where you start, you will reach that stage back again. So at least 6 months treatment is required for constipation, and the medicines have to be gradually tapered over a period of 3 months. And before we taper these medicines, the child has to be adequately toilet trained. There should be a regular stooling pattern, and despite that, there should be a regular careful follow-up. There is diet is very important for constipation. Adults, we always advise high fiber diet and more water, but in children also it's very important. These days children are addicted to junk food. In winters they will take very little water, otherwise also they will not drink adequate water. So it's very important to give sprouts, to give green leafy vegetables, to give pulses which have high fiber content, like horse gram which is kulthi, or green gram which is moong, मसूर की दाल. So these are things बच्चे आजकल के नहीं खाते हैं. So these are things which we have to inculcate, and the sad thing is that the young parents, the parents themselves are not eating these things. So it is very important for a dietary revamp in the family. Pizzas, burgers, Maggie, everything is allowed for taste and for leisure occasionally, but not as a meal replacement and not as a routine diet. So ideal fiber intake is age plus 5 grams. So fiber supplements we don't use normally in children because they are very difficult to take, but we do recommend at least try to take a normal fiber diet. Our children are living on a fiber deficient diet. So including fruits, vegetables, following the American Academy of Pediatric guidelines, which says at least 5 servings of fruit and vegetable in one day. So our children, most of the patients who come to me in the OPD, they will be taking only 1 or 2 servings. So it's very important to use these measures. Second thing is toilet training. Toilet training has to be done not before 24 months of age. 2 साल पे toilet training start करनी है, उससे पहले नहीं करनी है. And there is a rule of one. Rule of one means only one person. ये नहीं कि कभी मम्मी, कभी मासी, कभी पापा, कभी दादी. One person will toilet train, one routine after a meal, 5 minutes on the pot at one place, and only one word. एक word जिससे बच्चा associate करता है, like poo or potty, this has to be used. And this is how toilet training has to be done. The child has to be encouraged to sit on the toilet at least 2 to 3 times a day for 5 to 10 minutes after the meals. खाना खाने के immediately आधे घंटे के अंदर उसे पॉट पे बिठाइए, because there is a natural gastrocolic reflex. जैसे ही हम कुछ खाते हैं हमारे intestines का movement होता है, forward peristalsis होता है. So this helps in toilet training. So after a meal, tell the child, beg the child to sit on the pot for 30 minutes or within 30 minutes for 5 to 10 minutes or so. And this is how the toilet training is to be done. Older children also have to be encouraged to have adequate toilet time. They are just most of the children will just, it is just a go in and out system. They will not even spend 2 minutes on the pot. So that is what leads to incomplete fecal evacuation and fecal retention. So if there are any fissures, they have to be treated. Our traditional squatting system, that Indian toilets were very good, but with the western coming in of the Western toilets, constipation has increased. So most of the homes have Western toilets. So to help achieve a more physiological position, a squatting position, use a stool which the child can place in front of the pot and keep the legs on that. So that will help in the defecation. Maintain a stool and symptom diary. It's really helpful when parents maintain a diary. They write every day बच्चे ने stool कब किया, किस तरह का किया. There is a Bristol stool chart which is available on the net. So उससे आपको stool का consistency पता चलेगा, what type it is. And symptom diary, when the child had discomfort, any urinary symptoms, any anal pain, any itching or any pain abdomen. A parent-child cooperation is very essential. The parents need to be very, very patient with the child, and over strictness will only harm the child. And they need to be regularly follow up these children with their pediatrician and maintain a relationship of trust and confidence of the child with the parent, with the caregiver, and also with the doctor. Only then can they have this, can they be free of this. And a treatment of constipation is like a snakes and ladders game. You don't take your medicines regularly. You are just like the snake bite. You just come down the ladder. So it is very important to follow the medical advice. And as far as the natural history is concerned, almost 60% of the children will be free of the symptoms after 1 year of therapy. But sometimes after stopping, they may have a rebound and may need to go back on medicines again. And almost 1/3 of the children who are constipated in childhood will have constipation in adulthood also. So one जो जिनको tendency है, because they are associated with GI motility disorders, our colonic transit time, all these studies are now available which can be done, जिससे हम ये देख सकते हैं कि the normal transit time is increased in patients who have long-standing constipation. So these are the reasons why you can have refractory constipation. So the most common reason why therapy fails is the laxatives are not given in the proper dose, the disimpaction is not done properly, and the regular treatment is not taken. So these are very important. My message is to follow the medical advice as far as laxatives is concerned, as far as lifestyle is concerned, as far as physical activity is concerned, for a holistic child development and normal growth. Because children who are constipated are always unhappy children. They will be irritable. They will not enjoy their childhood, and the parents will also. It makes their life hell. It's very, very important to understand that it's not something which is very trivial. It is something which affects the quality of life and leads to long-standing consequences on the overall psyche of the child. So it's not something which cannot be handled. It's not something which cannot be treated. It's something which can be managed very well, but it needs consistency and it needs a good parent-doctor relationship to succeed in treatment of constipation. Thank you so much. Any questions if you have, I'll be happy to take. Anything, questions? Okay, thank you so much for your patient listening. I hope it has been useful to you. So I am available in Apollo Hospital, Noida, daily evening 6 to 7 p.m. And you can take an appointment from the desk. And if you have any queries, you can contact the hospital administration. Thank you.